Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We are live. Might be Labor Day, but we're still getting Cowboys videos out there for you. A live show like we do pretty much every single Monday. There are some exceptions, for like the game and stuff. I want you guys to grade the DaRon Bland extension for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Grade the DaRon Bland extension A, B, C, D, or F. I actually don't think the contract's bad at all. I did our instant reaction video. I was a little surprised at the other reaction of people being upset by it because I thought it was reasonable fare. It wasn't dragged out. I thought that was a pretty fair extension. I think B is very reasonable there. Get those votes in. I do want to get to William Cook's super chat before we get to today's sponsors. I'm also going to add William into our jersey entry tracker as well. Some shout outs here. I see A, B, B minus, B plus, A plus. Food reviews back. B, A plus. I might have overestimated. A, B minus, 1F, A plus, A, B, someone said B for bag. That works too. I don't mind that one. A, B plus, A plus, another F in there, A, B. So I guess we are mostly in agreement then, which does make me feel better. I would like it if all of these contracts kind of went in the same fashion where there wasn't a tremendous amount of drama and things getting dragged out. So I do like how that one played out. So grade that DaRon Bland extension. A, B, C, D, or F. Food Review calls it the typical Cowboys surprise camp extension. I might argue that was the Jake Ferguson one. That one was a bit more surprising. So just, change the URL to refresh. It's frozen again? Jeez, man. Not your fault. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Logan, so we get Tyler Smith locked up. That's an A. I agree. I would love to get Tyler Smith paid. I think that would be a pretty significant positive update for the Cowboys. Do it early, overpay, and then in a year, you're not overpaying at all. So that to me is how things should be going. So $10 super chat from William Cook. He says, I could see the Cowboys trading the higher of the two picks for additional picks to recoup the traded third. I wouldn't be shocked if they moved around a little bit. I actually do think that makes some sense for the Cowboys. I would love to, if you're able, it's not going to be easy, to find a 2027 first-round pick. If you can do what the Rams did this year and trade down with a team that's coming up from the second round, get really good value, and get that pick back, I think that would be an extreme positive for the Cowboys. So that's a big deal for me. So, William, I like where you're thinking. I think, I love extra picks. If you can operate how the Cowboys, they've done this before too. I think it's a good way. Extra picks is a good thing. So moving down, getting extra draft assets is a positive as far as I'm concerned. Now, today's show is made possible by a new sponsor here at the Cowboys Report. It is Omaha Steaks. Get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Labor Day sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code COWBOYS at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code COWBOYS at checkout. You can see site for details. Appreciate Omaha Steaks sponsoring us here on the Cowboys Report. Today's show also made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Go download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Who we got in week one then? This is the pinned poll on today's show as well. 75% voting C for the Cowboys, E for the Eagles, generating 25% of the voting. So get those comments flowing. C for the Cowboys, E for the Eagles. Let me know in the comments of today's show. We will get to my prediction during it. I'll leave it at that, and you have to wait and watch. We also got 69 likes, which is super fun. Creighton, SPCD, Mike, Oracle, Can Be Chillin', Rod, Random, Cheese, all typing in their C's. Jacob Bo Big saying, sadly, Eagles. Eugene's got a C. William says V. I don't know what the V is for. It's right by the C on the desktops. Maybe he meant C. Cam spamming their C in there. Roselle says C. Keep the comments coming. I will say 76% is low for the predictions. Normally it's at like 90%. Like when we get to the Giants game in week 2, fingers crossed it'll be super high because we'll be confident on that front. E from Jacob Terry, C from Palmer and Drizzy. Keep the comments coming. C for the Cowboys, E for the Eagles. $2 super chat from Manny coming through. Says, think it's possible the boys trade Mozzie Smith for a day 3 pick. Possible, yes. Likely, I'm going to lean towards no, just because I don't think there's a tremendous amount of interest in him with the contract and everything. I think you could get him for a day 3 pick swap. I would wonder from the Cowboys' perspective if they find that valuable enough relative to what they think they still might be able to get out of Mozzie. I do think it is now or never for him, though. We are rapidly barreling towards a Taco Charlton-esque scenario where I could see a scenario in which, like, if he's bad for the first couple weeks of the season, there is the scenario they look to dump him because they have Kenny Clark now. And, I had a twofold pushback about trading Mozzie. You don't have anybody else at defensive tackle and the money. Well, the money's not that big of an issue. It's only a couple $1 million extra, which isn't great, but still. You do have Kenny Clark now. So that does kind of change your numbers game on that front as it relates to the Cowboys. So I would certainly keep that one in mind. So Manny, thank you very much, my friend. The Super Chat menu on today's show. Any Super Chat equals a shout-out like we just did for William and for Manny. $5, you are entered into our raffle for our Week 1 giveaway. Haven't decided what that'll be yet, so stay tuned. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. That's what William Cook got earlier. $50 for shots, $100 for a beer bong. That is the Super Chat menu on today's show. We are going to keep the prices high throughout the in-season of shots and beer bongs so that I guess I binge drink on Sundays is the proper way to describe what I do here on the show. So that is the Super Chat menu. Any Super Chat equals a shout-out. $5 raffle entry. $10 gets you 3. $50 for a shot, and $100 for a beer bong. I want you guys now to predict the score of the Cowboys against the Eagles. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. We'll give some shout-outs here as well. Predict that score for me of the Week 1 matchup. We have the rosters in theory are set. We're not going to have more chaos and changes beyond that front. So get your score predictions in. 34-16 Cowboys. Boy, I would have quite the Thursday night. I might be in the office a little bit later on Friday if that happens. 21-17 Cowboys from Cowboys Show 2. 45-14 Eagles. 35-10 Cowboys. 34-7 Cowboys. 14-12 Cowboys. 35-21 Eagles. Eagles cover. 30-16 Eagles. 28-24 Cowboys. 27-20 Eagles. 34-31 Cowboys. 24-21 Cowboys. 45-38 Eagles. 24-21 Cowboys. 10-7 Cowboys. 31-28 Cowboys. 69-0 Eagles. I prefer it when it's 69-0 Cowboys. That's more it's more entertaining. More entertaining for me. All right, before we get into today's full live show, if you haven't already, like the video for me, please and thank you. Free, simple, easy to do. Like that video if you haven't already done so. Coming up on today's live edition of the Cowboys Report, various news and rumors. We'll get to the latest Super Chat that just came in before we go to the live show here. We'll hit that real quick. But Cowboys news and rumors. There's some injury updates, DaRon Bland stuff, captains have been named, etc. A Cowboys versus Eagles preview. We'll go in depth with some keys to victory, injury notes on that front. A mailbag, as always, 2 ways to get in on the show. Use hashtag Cowboys or skip the line altogether via Super Chat. We'll also break down the official, in air quotes, Cowboys depth chart. A $2 Super Chat here from Cruz. Want to get into that, then we'll get into the live show. Remember to rotate your Omaha Steaks L3 during the live show. or during the segment, I should say, excuse me. It says, is Kenny Clark doing anything against Barkley? I think he helps you. I think Kenny Clark, healthy now, recovered from injury. I think he should help you out with what you had, especially compared to what you had previously. Does he magically fix every single element of the Cowboys defense? I'm not so sure. I have doubts on that front, but I do think he is a positive for you, and he does help you on that front. So we'll see what happens, but I do think Kenny Clark helps you against Saquon Barkley. Run defense is a team thing, though, and you do need elements that haven't been great in the past to be better if you're going to bottle him up. So, Cruz, thank you very much for that super chat. Let's dive into today's live show. You all set? Sweet. Let's ride. Time for a sub battle this week against the Philadelphia Eagles. We will take them on Thursday, and we'll have a weekly sub battle. So we're starting at 0-0, and we got the advantage, being live and doing our shows on Labor Day. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV for free Cowboys videos each and every single day. Plus, of course, our watch party. Let's go into the DaRon Bland extension. The contract extension details they're now in, and it's a little less than what had initially been reported across the NFL, which isn't surprising, frankly. This is how it normally tends to go, where the initial numbers are a little bit juiced, a little bit in favor of the agent because he's the one sending him out there. So we'll break down the early reporting and go in depth as much as possible that can be understood with the DaRon Bland contract. So initially reported as a 4-year, $92 million deal. That's $23 million on average. The guaranteed money was $50 million. I think we're back up and going. I have no answers for why our software decided to crash. We actually did get it up a little bit faster than I thought. So grade the DaRon Bland extension A, B, C, D, or F. I will be able to know it's up and running once I see the comments come back in. So apologies for the software crashing. I couldn't tell you why I did it. I just decided to completely stop working altogether. So we're back. Grade the DaRon Bland extension A, B, C, D, or F. How do you feel about how the Bland deal went down today? Or I should say yesterday. Someone says we're back. BYKE, so you guys understand the memes. A, B, C, D, or F. We'll resume with the rest of the show, but I do want to make sure these super chats do get their shout-outs as well. Ryder Kincaid coming through a $10 super chat. That's 3 entries into the mailbag, or into the raffle. Man, I hope Shoddy and the rest of the team come out here and surprise us. Also, thank you for what you do. I listen to you a lot and highly enjoy talking football, even when we suck like this. Well, Ryder, I'm happy to have you here. Thank you very much on that front. I do hope things are a lot better this upcoming season. I think that the range of outcomes for the Cowboys are wide. Come out here and surprise us, acknowledging that it could be kind of ugly, frankly. That is a concern the Cowboys might face. Or they could surprise us and be very good. I don't think playoffs is out of the range of expectations. So I do think that that's what I would like to see have happen as well. So I appreciate that, Ryder. Thank you very much. All right, Manny is in with another $5 super chat. Thank you, Manny. Appreciate that. Is Diggs playing? If so, how do you see the secondary matching up against the Eagles wideouts? It's a great question. I don't know what it's going to look like on that front. I don't know if he's going to play. We're sitting this on Monday. We'll probably know before the not-too-distant future, what it actually looks like. We should have a feel for that by then. We should know Wednesday, if not even Tuesday, if he's going to play or not. So TBD. We'll do videos on it, obviously. If you get good Diggs and good Bland, and you get good Kyer Elam, which are question marks for at least a couple of them, I think that they can hold up. The Eagles are an efficiency passing offense. They're not a volume passing offense. It's just, can you hold up against Devonta Smith? Can you hold up against A.J. Brown? And that's probably going to be Bland on Smith, I would guess, and Diggs on Brown. That's not a matchup. It's not an easy matchup for any NFL corner. So can they hang? Possibly. Will they? We'll see. But certainly one that's going to have to be kind of figured out on that front. A couple more super chats I want to get to here as well. We'll get to Matthew Embry and another one from Ryder Kincaid as well. Matthew $5. This team will go as far as the offense will take us. If everything clicks, I can see this offense being good, but still so many unknowns. I think this is accurate too. They could be great on offense. There are a lot of unknowns. Like the head coach is unknown. So that's a big question mark there too. So very valid question there, Matthew. I think good explanation on top of that. Let's get to the $5 one there from Ryder Kincaid. It looks like did it reset on you? Classic super chat polar. I do think that the offense could be great or it could be kind of dicey. All right, Ryder Kincaid, no sooner than I thank you for what you do, you crash out on me. Funny how that works. Yeah, it came out like right as the damn stream crashed. So I don't know why it crashed, and hopefully it doesn't happen again, but we'll see. No sooner than the keys to some things that we needed to go right to have a winning season. We should definitely restart with the full cut. That's what we should do. Look, I live up to your potential and like get the most out of everything. And that's kind of very vague and whatnot, but I do think like the quarterback has to play well. You have to find a way to recreate Micah Parsons in the aggregate. You need good play from Kenny Clark. You need your high-paid guys to stay healthy and play well. You need your head coach to be good too, and that's probably the biggest unknown of all of this. He's also your play caller too. Patty the Pirate, thoughts on picking up Joe? I'm not gonna fall for it. Like that's not. I think that isn't that a hockey player or an older hockey player? Isn't that who that is? Anyway. All right. Thank you, Patty the Pirate. I appreciate that. Let's get to Michael Sutton's $5 super chat here in just a second. And then we'll get back to the regularly scheduled show where hopefully it does not crash out again. And if it does, we'll have a meltdown and we'll figure it out from there. Maybe we'll do mailbag second today after the first cut so we can actually get through the whole damn thing. So appreciate that, Patty the Pirate, for your $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Michael Sutton, $5. Says if they try to extend Pickens during or after the season, how do you see those negotiations going, if you know what I mean? Look, I think part of why they paid DaRon Bland was they had to make decisions on like 2 of their 3 top free agents so that worst case scenario, and I think it should be considered worst case scenario, you have the franchise tag available for one of them. That's what I think the worst case scenario is. So I think we'll keep an eye on it. I don't know if the Pickens extension happens. Feels like both sides are very much content to like reset and go into the season and then the offseason and go from there. But I don't in-season negotiations will happen. Afterwards, they got the franchise tag as a threat. So I want to see how the Pickens stuff plays out. So far, so good. But, let's see how things happen after a loss. And the Cowboys get Pickens 4 targets and 3 catches for 35 yards. Like, that'll probably happen at some point. I do want to see how that one ends up playing out. So appreciate all the super chats so far. We will get into our regularly scheduled programming and hope that nothing freezes and crashes and breaks down on us again. If it does, we got it back up kind of quick, I felt like, which was a good thing. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. Let's dive into the regularly scheduled program here on the Cowboys Report. Nope, that's not right. Got to go to the sub one. Sub one first. It's okay. You're good. So full show coming up here, starting right now. Today's Cowboys Report, we're in a sub battle against Eagles Now, the 2 channels here playing Thursday night on Chat Sports. I want to take down the Eagles on the field, obviously, but we at least want to get more subs than them throughout the week. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. We will have free videos for you each and every single day. We will have a ton of Cowboys coverage. We'll have our watch party live plenty early on Thursday night. We will have everything you need on the Cowboys. So if you're a fan and you want to beat chasing the Eagles, don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. It continues to freeze on us, unfortunately. So I don't have any solutions to how to get it to not freeze. So that's a really bad sign. So just don't click. So you guys can always vote in the poll when we're doing this stupid stuff and the stream keeps freezing. I don't have solutions beyond just getting it to work properly. So is it still frozen on you? Okay, don't click too much because that's how it probably freezes and dies altogether. So hit that sub button if you haven't already. youtube.com/@CowboysTV for more free Cowboys YouTube videos. We'll just pretend this is a cold open for the after part, and you can just splice it. Let's go to the next thing and try to get to the cut here. It's been a disaster class on this front, so I don't have any answers for you. I think we should just do this and the mailbag, and then we can get out of there because it's not working very well. So we'll do that. So hit that sub button and we'll move on to the next portion of today's show. Let's talk DaRon Bland extension. The contract extension details are now in for Bland, and it's a little less than what had actually first been reported by NFL media, which isn't unique. It's frankly rather common to have this happen overall, but I do want to break down the Bland extension. So first, the early reporting with what first came in on the Bland contract. 4 years, average per year was $23 million. The total money was $92 million, guaranteed at $50. That was the initial reporting. The nitty-gritty contract details, Todd Archer had them. Others had them like Over the Cap and Spotrac. Details are actually it's $90 million. So there are some incentives. So the max is 92. Average per year is actually 22.5. The fully guaranteed money, which is different than the total guarantee money, is $36.5 million. Now there's some details on that we'll get to here in a little bit as part of that. I do want to break down what matters the most, how the cap hits are impacted by the dead money. So the Bland cap hits $5.82 million on the cap this year. That's a very slight increase from what it was going to be. So no major impact to your books this year. $36.42 million in dead money if they cut him right now. Not going to happen. 17.4 in cap hits in 2026 and 2027. Then a big jump, 26.4 and 28.4 in 2028 and 2029. The dead money drops significantly after 2026. There's an asterisk on the 2027 figure we'll get to here, but if he's healthy and not playing well, you could cut him after just 2 years and move on and save some money in the end. What the Cowboys will probably do, what they plan to do, I would guess, is do what is called a simple restructure of DaRon Bland's contract for next season, the 2026 campaign. That would save them $8.14 million on the cap. That cap hit drops down from 17.4 to under $10 million. They'd save a significant amount of money by doing that, which would not be much of a surprise at all. Now, the DaRon Bland guaranteed notes I want to mention here as well. The 2027 salary is guaranteed for injury. So if he gets hurt, before the season, hey, that money is guaranteed still. Kind of similar to what the Cowboys did with Trevon Diggs. So the 2027 salary fully guarantees in March of 2027. There is 6.54 of 2028 salary that is currently guaranteed for injury. So minor note, but I did want to acknowledge that in terms of how the DaRon Bland contract is structured. So as expected, the actual number is not nearly as expensive and high as what had initially been reported. So with all of that now in mind, I want you to grade the DaRon Bland extension. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know at the pinned comment of today's show what you think the DaRon Bland extension grade should be. A, B, C, D, or F. Go vote in the comment section of today's show. Cowboys might not be done with extensions quite yet, as it froze again on you, didn't it? Classic. All right, we'll just cut around it. The Cowboys might not be done with extensions yet, and Tyler Smith could very well be next in line for the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to big-time money and big-time extensions, which I think would be a positive thing for the Dallas Cowboys with where they currently sit. The Cowboys need to find a way to continue doing this type of stuff. This is what Brian Schottenheimer had to say on Tyler Smith. He said, quote, "What a talent. Hopefully, he's the next one to get done." I would like it quite a bit if the Cowboys found a way to pay Tyler Smith and get him big time. It just keeps freezing on you, doesn't it? Fucking software, man. God damn it. All right, we'll just find a spot to slice it. I got no fucking answers. Schottenheimer had this to say on, I should not have a giant huff going into it. That's probably a bad thing for the cut. Brian Schottenheimer had this to say on Tyler Smith, calling him, quote, "What a talent. Hopefully he's the next one." It just keeps freezing. God fucking I have no answers for how to get it to not freeze, so I will just wait and let you get to the next part, and then we'll go from there. So get to the next part of the. Yes. I appreciate everyone apologizing. I am sorry for you guys that the show can't even operate properly without the whole thing freezing up and locking up on us. It's incredibly annoying. We'll get through this part, then we'll do the mailbag, and then we'll probably have to sign off because we can't have 15 edits and cuts for the live show. It's just been highly messy. So servers are servers. Yeah, you're telling me about it. It's not even. Ugh. All right, you all set there? No. Let me get to this part first. Brian Schottenheimer hinting at a contract extension for Tyler Smith as well, saying, quote, "What a talent. Hopefully, he's the next one to get done." I think the details for what you have to pay Tyler Smith are pretty much laid out already. You have to beat Trey Smith on the contract. That is the highly paid Chiefs offensive guard, who is currently the highest paid guard in the NFL. 4 years, $94 million, $23.5 million per year. The guaranteed money is $70 million. You have to beat that figure. If you don't, I don't think you have any real shot of signing Tyler Smith, who is a damn good guard, by the way, if not one of the best guards in the NFL. He's in that top 5 conversation. I forget where he checked in at the ESPN rankings. It was either 1 or 2, here off the top of my head. Either way, he's awesome at football, and those are the types of guys that you pay. That's just, you have plenty of money. You had money before the Micah Parsons deal. This one you should absolutely find a way to get done. Now, today's show is made possible by a new sponsor, Omaha Steaks. From handcrafted steaks to family grilling favorites, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. Not just steaks, by the way. Burgers, franks, meaty chicken wings, and more. There is nothing like a Labor Day cookout to end the summer with a sizzle. I took care of mine on Sunday because the family was over up with yard work, so I'm like, let me just hook you guys up with some good food and good meat. And everyone seemed to enjoy it, and then I fell asleep afterwards because, it's always a good sign when the food was good, right? From 5 generations of uncompromising quality, backed by 100% unconditional money-back guarantee, Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917. Get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Labor Day sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code COWBOYS at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code COWBOYS at checkout. See site for details. A big thanks to our advertiser, Omaha Steaks. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's omahasteaks.com. And don't forget that promo code COWBOYS if you want to get an additional $35 off. Let's talk Cowboys injury news here. Trevon Diggs said he did everything at practice on Sunday. However, he wouldn't commit to playing against the Philadelphia Eagles. He also wouldn't rule it out, said he'd be back by week 4 at the absolute minimum. So this is very much a wait and see status on Trevon Diggs. I think there is a chance that Diggs plays this week, and we'll probably know by Wednesday night if he's going to be able to play or not based on what that final injury designation ends up being. Sure seems like he's healthy. He's been out there plenty and able to play and have seemingly good health success, not having any setbacks, same way Savone Revel had setbacks. So I kind of had pointed this out on a previous video that hey, I wonder, is this just going to be a scenario where the Cowboys don't say much about Diggs and then boom, he's healthy and good to go because they didn't want to admit that he did handle his rehab properly and everything, and they didn't want to have some egg on their face. I kind of feel like we're at that point. Just in terms of Diggs seems pretty healthy. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's a guarantee he plays. I think it's at best 50-50 right now. But I do think there is a very real possibility that Diggs is able to go. And that would be a significant deal for the Dallas Cowboys if he is able to play, because you're facing an Eagles secondary that is loaded, that is talented, has a ton of ability. You kind of need Trevon Diggs out there. And if he is out there, I do think this cornerback room looks a lot better. DaRon Bland, Trevon Diggs, Kyer Elam as your starters. That room works. that room is good enough to have at least some success. Yeah, your pass rush maybe isn't as good this upcoming season, but you have those players to get you into a position that have success. I don't know if it's even Diggs' call. We're going to tell Guyton it's probably in a similar bucket. Kind of feels like it's more of the Cowboys get to make the decision. The training staff makes the final call on that front. But if the Cowboys can have this top three out there with Bland probably slides inside some to nickel, that's a win for Dallas. So predictions. What week? 1, 2, 3. I guess 4 is your other option potentially. What week do you think Trevon Diggs returns to the Dallas Cowboys? Get those predictions in for me in the comment section of today's show. What week do you think Diggs is back on the field for the Dallas Cowboys? Let's go to Tyler Guyton. Now, he said he expects to play on Thursday against the Philadelphia Eagles, which, again, I think would be a big deal for the Dallas Cowboys to have him back out there and have him available. I don't want to rush him back. He's an important long-term part of this team. Not so that Diggs isn't or anything, but like Guyton, I don't want to rush back. It's a knee. He's young. It's an offensive lineman. I don't want to build bad habits or anything. I want to make sure he's healthy. If he is healthy, that's a big deal for the Cowboys. To have him healthy, available, and good to play is significant. That is something that matters for the Dallas Cowboys. So, again, I don't want to rush him back. I want to make sure he's healthy, but he expects to play. Final call seems to be made up by the training staff, which is how it should always be done. Like, that makes sense. I do like the reporting overall we have seen of late from the Dallas Cowboys as it relates to Guyton. It seems like all of this is mostly good news. For as many injuries you had in training camp, for the most part, you've managed to avoid kind of the long-term stuff, which absolutely does matter on that front. So of these two players, who is more likely to play? TD for Trevon Diggs, TG for Tyler Guyton. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. TD for Trevon Diggs, TG for Tyler Guyton. Get your answers in for me in the comments of today's show. It's TD for Trevon Diggs, TG for Tyler Guyton as to who is more likely to play in Week 1 against the Eagles. One more injury note on Perrion. Winfrey left practice Sunday. Reportedly did not practice on Monday either, with what has been reported as back tightness for the young, or I guess so young, Cowboys defensive tackle. We'll see how that continues to play out as things move forward. But I think this does open the possibility he is not a game day active along the defensive line, which, again, somebody has to be inactive, whether it's Winfrey or Toia or Mozzie Smith. Like, somebody is not going to go, because Solomon Thomas, Kenny Clark, and Osa Odigizua are. That's 1 to 2 even players who will not be active on game days along the defensive line. So we'll see about Winfrey's status, but I kind of lean towards he's not going to play at all in Week 1. One more note before we go, the Dallas Cowboys captains coming up this season. The Cowboys, by the way, will make note, set to have a Captain of the Week starting in Week 2, but as voted on by the players, your 6 captains: Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Osa Odigizua, Donovan Wilson, Brandon Aubrey, and C.J. Goodwin are the captains for the Cowboys in 2025. 2 on offense, 2 on defense, and 2 on special teams. All right, who you got? C for the Cowboys, E for the Eagles. Let's delete the Omaha Steaks layer when you get a chance and see if that fixes it. That was like, delete layer. We can add it back later. We don't need it for the rest of the show. Yeah. Who you got? C for the Cowboys, E for the Eagles. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. C or E. Let me get caught up here on liking these super chats we've gotten to so far. Okay, you're good. Let's go to the mailbag next, because I do want to make sure we at least get through that, given the issues we've had today with the. Yeah, let's just go to the mailbag here. We can hit some of the super chats that have come in from Manny and Robert and Matthew and Manny again. Yes, good. So let's get to the hashtag Cowboys super chat question, the weigh-in, and then we'll get to the mailbag. So go right here. Click my name in the script. Get your votes in for who you got. It's the pin poll as well, by the way. C for the Cowboys, E for the Eagles. Let me know who you got on Thursday Night Football. C or E for the Cowboys. I see a lot of C's in there. Oyster, Oistler, my bad. Matthew Embry's got a C. Plenty of E for Eagles in there as well. Coming up next, we will get to our mailbag. 2 ways to get in on the show. Number 1 is use hashtag Cowboys or skip the line altogether via Super Chat. Those are the 2 paths to get in on the show. A couple of Super Chats have already come in. We will get to those as part of the mailbag cut after the bunch of the Super Thanks and everything in there. So we'll get to those on the show. The Super Chat menu, by the way, any Super Chat equals a shout out. $5 equals a raffle entry. $10 equals 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot and $100 for the beer bong. I see William Cook coming through with another $10 Super Chat. I'll get you your raffle entries in there right now. We will get to those Super Chats as part of the mailbag, so stay tuned for that. We will begin with several Super Thanks that have come in over the last couple of days since we were live on Thursday. Is it freezing or are you just getting stuff organized? Okay, that's fine. Get those Super Chats in or just use hashtag Cowboys if you want to get yourself in the queue for producer Chris to find your question and then bring it up on screen. Is that pulling from the right layer? What layer are you pulling from? That's not it. It's in GFX3, remember? Sweet. So again, Super Chats to get to, Super Thanks to begin today's live mailbag, which is brought to you, by the way, by Prize Picks, by the way. So make sure I'd say just go ahead and start with that L3 up, just for simplicity. I see Evan Braun in there. Appreciate that, guys. Keep the comments coming and the Super Chats coming as hopefully the stream does not freeze and crash again. So, yeah. Mailbag time here on the Cowboys Report. A $2 Super Thanks to begin with William Cook. Says with this, in reference to the DaRon Bland extension, having Elam and Savone Revel marks the end of Diggs, even if Bland is the nickel once Diggs returns. I will say Kyer Elam is a free agent after the season too, so don't have to write off Diggs yet, but I do think the most likely outcome is, given how mad the Cowboys were at Diggs this offseason, which they may not have been right to be mad at him. We'll see how that plays out, or if it doesn't play out. But I think that the writing is on the wall. This is probably the end of the line for Diggs. Also, from William Cook, a $5 Super Thanks. I think with a healthy Dak and the offense, they will be above 500. I think that is possible. And history does tell us a healthy Cowboys quarterback, almost regardless of who the head coach is, has been at 500 or better. Now, you obviously can't, I guess you can be at 500 with a tie, but ties are an American. I think if the offense plays great, you could be above 500. The margin for error is slight this year, though, especially with so much uncertainty around the head coach. Now, every $5 Super Thanks, even if you're not watching part of our live shows, does get you in to our Week 1 raffle. So every $5 Super Thanks gets you in. Appreciate those of you who have already done so. A 2-part Super Thanks question from Matthew. Says, I'm excited for the season, but I'm bummed not having Micah, but $47 million a year is high. And actually surprised Micah was the player they didn't cave to. I feel regardless, this year we're going to have to outscore teams. This year, we will go as far as our offense can carry us. I feel like if Dak is healthy for most of the season, we will be at 9 to 11 wins. No more slow starts. Fingers crossed. You need to start hot this year. I'm ready to traumatize my 1-month-old daughter with her first Cowboys game. Matthew, I think I speak for pretty much all of us. Certainly hope you are correct. Rich Porter Trey, with I think a very good question/comment here. So are we back in rebuild mode again? And again? What was the point in paying Dak and CD? That's the crux of my issue with where the Cowboys are at and how they are currently constructed. If you wanted to go out to make your team better, let's be honest, you're not better right now post Micah Parsons trade. It's fine. You would have done it in March. You would have done it in April and used those assets to help you now. You could have gotten more teams involved. At minimum, the Falcons would have been involved now, but they're not, and they couldn't be involved this time because they had no first-round pick. So that you were not going to do business with them, period. So you did kind of limit your options. My concern, and it is a concern, and it can be played out incorrectly, and I hope it does, is that this Cowboys team is kind of stuck like being just okay. or they're not going to be bad enough because they have Dak and Lamb and others who are very good players, if not great players, that's going to prevent them from losing all of their games. They're going to get a top 5 pick, but they're not going to be good enough. They don't have the overall talent in general to be able to win 11 games and go on a real run in the NFC. Plus, you just helped one of your biggest contenders in that. So that's my concern with the Cowboys. So do you trust the Cowboys right now? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. It is the pinned comment, by the way. From CJ DeYoung III, answer to, am I excited for the return of Cowboys football? No, he says. I get it. He also had this super thanks too, saying, Jerry's a joke. The entire front office is a joke. It's hard to be a Cowboys fan anymore. Thanks. I think this is all in reference to the Micah Parsons trade, obviously. If you wanted to trade Micah, you had a very valid argument to do so. Get assets, get draft picks, save some money, spend it elsewhere. But you didn't go about that plan properly because trading Micah was not the plan. It was not. That's why they wanted to pay him, right? The plan changed. It's fine. I think relative to what they could have gotten, I think they did a pretty reasonable job, actually. But it's the frustration over the process again, at least on that one. The Bland extension process, no drama. It was nice. Keep doing that stuff. From Marcus Arnold, another $5 super thanks. Excuse me, says, thanks. Here's the problem. Jerry makes just as much money losing as he does winning. Until the mediocrity starts affecting his money, we can get... I feel like that's bad of me to read out loud, but you guys can read it there on the screen. But I get the frustration. As everyone watching, except for the 10 Eagles fans who are hate watching because they are secretly closeted Cowboys fans, it's frustration because we just want to win championships. And it, at least at times, feels like it's not win or go broke for this organization. That they're not as aggressive as they wanted to be, or at least were in the past. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day. Being right can get you paid on Prize Picks. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. It is simple to play. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. They invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Keep an eye out for the Dak Prescott max discount. It's a half passing yard for week 1. Put it in every single one of your lineups. That's a no-brainer. Here's one of my lineups this week. This is the power play, not the flex play, so I got to get all 3 right, but one of them's the Dak. Come on. Xavier Worthy, more than 3.5 yards on the ground. Ashton Genty, anytime touchdown as well. So go download the app today, the Prize Picks app today, and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Lehman had a $2 super chat. Thanks. Simply said thanks. I appreciate that, Lehman. You're very kind. William Cook had another super thanks. He's been dominating the mailbag. This was a $15 one. Thank you, William. Says, Tom, I really appreciate your take as you speak for all of us suffering Cowboys fans. Now is the time to move from Micah. He is gone, not coming back. Keep the faith. I agree. I'm over it. I see all these people tweeting about the back and stuff. I don't believe the back's hurt, actually. I feel like that was spin after he practiced fully his first day. Go figure. I don't need to see clips. I did not watch the press conference. I'm done. I'm over it. And I am actively cheering against the Packers in every single game because I want that draft pick to be even higher. Now, if you guys want even more Dallas Cowboys news and rumors, make sure you guys are subscribed. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. We will have free Cowboys videos each and every single day, essentially multiple times per day. So do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Let's go to Chris Roman, then we'll get to some super chats after that. He says, would you sign Jabril Peppers? The Cowboys, I want to this up. Cowboys did make Donovan Wilson the captain as voted on by the players. That does feel important. That does feel like it's something worth mentioning. The fact that they chose to make him a captain isn't something that should be dismissed and ignored. That is probably pretty indicative of how they feel about him overall. And I would have fun with it. I'm not trying him at running back, frankly, but I think he's going to go somewhere where there's a more obvious need at safety. Don't hate the idea, though. I'm always trying to get better. So what do you think? Would you sign Jabril Peppers? S for sign, P for pass. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Got a $10 super chat again coming in from William Cook. Says, I wonder how the Eagles defense will do against CD, Pickens, and Ferg. Eagles have a good defense. I do wonder about that other cornerback spot for them. Like, obviously, Cooper DeJean is a good football player. He can do a bunch of nickel/safety stuff. I think that Quinton Mitchell is a damn good football player. Keely Ringo against George Pickens, assuming he's going to start, or Ja'Cory Brennan, who's not ready yet. I think you could take advantage of that. You'll see how Zach Baum plays if there's a letdown season, but you need your offense to play well in this one. $5 from Matthew. I really hope Shoddy is a good coach with as much hate as he has gotten. I'm 29 years old, and I just want to see success. DC for L. Me and Matthew are on the exact same page. It's all we want. We just want to see the success. All right, Malik L., another $5 super chat into our raffle. Got you entered. If the draft capital from the trade is because of eyes on a future prospect, is it Arch Manning or the new face of the defense in Anthony Hill Jr.? I'll say this. Let's just let the quarterback stuff, let it play out. Arch was bad in week 1. He did not play well. My issue with the Arch stuff, I did a short on this. If he is who we want him to be, you're not going to get him. Because that means he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. The nephew of Peyton and Eli, that team that gets that number 1 pick, they're not trading it. They're not. They probably need a quarterback already, so they're just going to take him. Now, if it's a different QB, like, okay, but you still have to be in that top 5. I don't think you're going to have a top 5 pick this year. You might be picking 12 again. That's possible. But 12 and 28 from the Packers doesn't move the needle on defense in quite the same way. You know, Caleb Downs might not be very likely, who I love. Anthony Hill, possible. I don't think the NFL is quite as high on him, but that is worth monitoring. So I think, like, watch all the draft prospects and, like, but also watch the mid to late round 1 guys too. We got a $50 super chat from Manny. We will do the shot outside of the mailbag because otherwise it looks kind of weird as far as I'm concerned. So he says, do you think the Packers are Super Bowl contenders with Parsons? I feel like Dallas had a better team with Parsons than the Packers have currently. What do you think? I think the Packers are overhyped, if you ask me. Cheers. Cheers to you, my friend. I will preface this by saying I hope the Packers are overhyped. I think the Packers with Micah, I think they do vault into the Super Bowl contenders category. I had them more in like the playoff category. I think adding a top 3 pass rusher is a pretty big boost. Now, long term, it's going to limit some of their flexibility to add young talent, but I do think it's stock up for them. Jai Games, $2. Diggs said 75 to 80% chance of him playing Thursday. Hope he does. I certainly would not be surprised if that ends up being the case. I feel like that number it keeps going up week in and week out, that everything just keeps getting a little bit higher on that front. All right, what is your confidence level in the Cowboys? Scale it from 1 to 10 in the comments section of today's show. Not specifically for week 1, just going forward as we move into the 2025 season. What is your confidence level in the Dallas Cowboys? Scale it for me from 1 to 10 in the comments section of today's show. All right, the super chat menu. If you can go grab the shot glass and the shotty in there. How was seemed like it wasn't freezing up at all during? Okay, we'll do the rest of the cuts then. Clearly, it was Omaha Steaks. So, anyway, here's the super chat menu. Any super chat is a shout out. $5 is a raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries, and no surprise, Manny got a bunch of entries. Thank you. Oh, you knocked that cover off. Turn that up all the way. Nope, up top. There you go. Yep, raise it. There you go. I do want to get to Manny's earlier super chat. We didn't get to that one, the $2 one. Who is your breakout candidate on offense and defense? There are a couple of those we have not gotten to yet either. So shot coming up first, or the shotty, which is it's like I put a little bit of sugar-free lemonade in essentially to like mimic the shotty that Schottenheimer likes to drink. So cheers to you, Manny. This one's for you. All right, $2 says, who is your breakout candidate on defense and offense? Okay. Offensive breakout candidate. It would be really good if it was your left tackle. That'd be a really good outcome. Or your center even. If one of your second-year offensive linemen had a big-time breakout season, that'd be a huge deal for you. Defensively, insert your edge. I don't like putting first-year players as breakouts, but Ezraku works. Marshawn Nealon works. Sam Williams works. Dante Fowler already broke out. But if one of those guys can get you 10 sacks, that's huge. Assuming the efficiency is good. But that's huge if one of them can get you there. Robert, why does Mozzie Smith have the most potential? Athletic potential, which only gets you so far in life, at least in football, I suppose. I hope that the run defense is better, that like he can learn from Kenny Clark. He didn't learn from other nose guards in front of him. Like I am worried about Mozzie Smith. But there is untapped potential. DTs take a while. Does the light bulb turn on? Let's see how this year plays out. Matthew, $2. Do you think the run game will improve this year? I sure hope so. That is one of the things we'll talk about here when we get to our preview. The run game has to be better this year, especially from like an efficiency standpoint. It was very inefficient last year, and it's just not going to cut it. So, Manny says, not freezing on our end. Wasn't freezing on your end. It sure was for producer Billy. That one was certainly not working right at all, which was very much annoying. But I appreciate that you guys stuck with me, and I think we're past it. Clearly just is that one graphic that causes issues, so we'll have to get with Jack afterward to figure out what the heck was going on there. We got the Jai Games. Ragnarok Howell is in with a $2 super chat, which is an elite name, by the way. It's an elite name. How do you rank the Dallas defensive position groups against others? Oof. I think your defensive tackle room, with the addition of Kenny Clark, might have gone to above average at least. It's probably not. I don't know if it's pushing top 5, but it's at least pushing top 10, I feel like. Edge obviously goes down. Maybe that's it's probably still above average. I'd have to go in depth and spend time on this. I do worry about your linebacker room. I have hopes for guys like Leah Fow and Jack Sanborn and everything, but I do want to see how it plays out. That could be a streaky group at linebacker. Healthy Overshow makes you a lot better. Safety room, if you get the good versions, it's a good group. Don't know if they'll be the good versions. Cornerback room is thin, but there is talent. And the healthy Diggs, who's 75 to 80% chance of him playing, again, is a pretty positive element, I think. So I'm optimistic about the defense, but there is the possibility it all goes belly up. I don't know if there's a top 5 unit. I wonder if they've been able to dodge the bottom 5 unit now, though, too. Malik L, is it me or by the Packers giving us Kenny Clark? Are the Packers just the Cowboys a few years back when we had Osa, but no nose tackle or threat opposite Micah? I think Rashawn Gary is a really good football player. So I think that, I was a little surprised they didn't move on from Rashawn Gary, or the Cowboys couldn't get Gary. I think he's awesome. Devontae Wyatt was a first-round pick. Now, that might be Osa, because I don't know if he's going to be a truly elite nose tackle. Carl Brooks is kind of a fun one, the former late-round pick. They got Nazir Stackhouse as undrafted free agent. I think they are now kind of thin at defensive tackle, but there was a real chance they were going to cut Kenny Clark next year anyway. There is some promising young talent. I think Xavier McKinney is awesome at safety. That is one of my favorite safeties in football. We'll see if Quay Walker becomes anything at all, but I think Edrin Cooper is going to be a fun fit. So how that plays out, we'll wait and see. We're not in the mailbag. So we'll just get to the next portion of the show. So grade the DaRon Bland extension. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. A, B, C, D, or F. Grade that DaRon Bland extension. Seemingly good enough to get to the rest of the show, so we'll keep going through that. So grade that DaRon Bland extension. I want to get to the preview. So go to the preview graphics. This is segment 2. That is not the preview one. So grade the DaRon Bland extension. A, B, C, D, or F. I'll give some shout-outs here. F from John. A from Manny. A+ from Deceitful Prince. Kevin says B. A from Jay. B from Matt. A from Drew. A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. Kind of funny how that one played out. So keep the comments coming. A, B, C, D, or F. Once producer Billy gives me the thumbs up, he's set and ready to go to the other stuff here. Sweet. Let's dive into the Cowboys versus Eagles preview. Week 1 of the NFL season is here, and if you want the Cowboys to shock the world and upset the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 1, I need you to like today's video. We have the data to prove it. The more likes we get, the more likely it is the Cowboys will take down the Eagles, so help us out and like today's show. The Cowboys are on the road at the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 1 to kick off the NFL season. It is a primetime game, Thursday night football. The Eagles are favored to the surprise of nobody. Obviously, right? 7.5-point favorites at home. I'm actually a little bit surprised it's not higher, but maybe it's the factoring in Week 1 can kind of be a little messy, a little sloppy, a little understated. Eagles going to have the ring ceremony. Not going to be fun to watch, but, you know, that's how it goes when they win the Super Bowl and you play in Week 1. Eagles are right to be favored in this particular matchup. I don't think it's certainly a surprise at all that the Cowboys are underdogs in this game. They have to be better. A lot of unknowns on Dallas, including the new head coach in Brian Schottenheimer. Some Cowboys injuries to monitor on this one. Trevon Diggs currently battling a knee injury. He said 75-80% chance to be able to play. That'd be awesome for the Cowboys. Tyler Guyton thinks he's going to play, so good news on that front. Brevin Spanford battling the ankle injury. Seems like he was back at practice, so we'll keep an eye on that one as a potential tight end 3 option. Perrion Winfrey tweaked his back tightness, but then, left Sunday practice, missed Monday. I think that's one to monitor in terms of the injury front for the Cowboys, but overall, mostly positive. Seems like mostly healthy, too. Eagles injuries to watch here. A.J. Brown, the hamstring, he says he's going to play. I am inclined to believe him because it's Week 1. Like, he's always having a hamstring injury somehow, it feels like. Landon Dickerson, the knee, kind of similar to the Tyler Guyton injury where it sounded really bad, but maybe not as bad as it actually ended up being, and actually not as bad as it ended up being, and he's got a chance to play now. Andrew Makuba, the young safety from Texas, hamstring injury. We will monitor that one. Tanner McKee, the backup quarterback, I doubt he's able to go with a thumb, but we'll see. Either way, if you got to go to the backup QB, it's probably a bad thing no matter what for Philadelphia. Or it's a really, really good thing for Philadelphia and a bad thing for the Cowboys. More keys to victory to come on today's show, plus my score prediction. But before we get to that, I want you to type F Chase for our Eagles host here at Chat Sports in the comments section of today's show. Some good-natured trolling. The most comments on today's video gets a free jersey raffle entry. So spam F Chase for me in the comments section of today's show. All right, key to victory number 1. You got to find a way to limit Saquon Barkley. This was the best running back in football last season. Had a real case for MVP. 2,000 yards in 16 games. This was not we got to play an extra game and got more yardage. Nope, did it in 16 games. 345 carries. History does tell us that after a massive workload, your play does normally drop off a little bit after a singular season. Wasn't overly involved in the passing game, about 2 catches per game, but we know how dynamic he can be with the ball in his hands. Bottling up Barkley will be one of the biggest things for the Dallas Cowboys in in Thursday's matchup, And the run defense has to play a huge part of that. Hopefully the addition of Kenny Clark helps you there, but this run defense wasn't very good last year. They faced 11 post runs in football. They allowed the most touchdowns. They were bottom 5 in yards per game, in yards per carry. They were bottom 2 in stuff rate, EPA per rush, expected points added, dead last in football. Most teams don't have efficiency with EPA and positive EPA per play when running the football. Every team on average faced the Cowboys sure did. They were bottom 5 in yards before contact. Still only 20th in yards after contact, despite stacking the box at a top 10 rate. How the run defense fares if they get gashed up front, going to be a lot of conversation on that. I do feel better about it with Kenny Clark, but I don't want to let one player determine. It's not fair to expect it. One player to save one entire unit. It's not realistic. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. It is simple to play. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. They also mentioned the flex play, but you can get one wrong and still cash out, even if your lineup isn't perfect. Max discount for week 1, Dak Prescott more than a half passing yard. It's a no-brainer. Put it in every single one of your lineups. Here's one of my power play lineups. The Dak half passing yard, obviously. Xavier Worthy, more than 3.5 yards per carry. Ashton Genty, more than a half touchdown as well. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Key to victory number 2, the passing offense has to be great. That is going to be a common key to victory, I suspect, a lot this season. You need the 2023 or 2021 version of Dak Prescott and this passing game. If he does not play well, fair or not, it's not going to work. He needs to be great in this matchup. He has to be. This is why you paid him. That's not to say it's all Dak's fault or it's all Dak's credit, good or bad, but he has to play well. His top playmakers have to play well. You need CeeDee Lamb to ball out. You need George Pickens to show you some good stuff. In fact, Pickens even might be even more important, given who will probably get matched up against. He'll probably get plenty of the Eagles' other corner, not named Quinyon Mitchell-Cooper-DeJean. That is a matchup in favor of George Pickens. I think Jake Ferguson needs to have a nice day over the middle of the field. You paid all 3 of those guys, / you traded for George Pickens. In the biggest moments, in the best games, it's not 100% on them, but they do have to play well. Otherwise, the end results are definitely not going to be in your favor because they can play well, and if other keys victory don't happen, it is what it is, but it kind of starts with your dynamic passing offenses. So give me your score prediction of the Cowboys against Eagles. We'll get to mine later on in today's show. Give me your score prediction in the comments between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Number 3 is pressure, but also contain Jalen Hurts. With these mobile quarterbacks, you have to keep them in the pocket. Easier said than done. Some under pressure stats from Hurts, who is by no means god-awful under pressure, but like all quarterbacks, not as good under pressure. He was 21 of 36 among qualifying QBs on NFL's next-gen stats on under pressure dropback, so didn't get pressured that much, frankly. EPA per play was negative, which isn't overly shocking because they were all negative under pressure. Every quarterback was last year. The completion was not very good. Only 45% of his passes got completed. Hurts was better last year under pressure. In years past, teams had just straight up blitzed him, and the Eagles had no answers. They finally found some answers last year, and it led to better touchdowns, lower interceptions, little high on the sacks, though, and he holds the ball. Hurts is not a quick decision maker under pressure, but mobile guys almost always have a longer time to throw because they can buy time with their legs. You got to get pressure on Jalen Hurts. I wouldn't mind blitzing him. So it's not all on my pass rush of Dante Fowler and Marshawn Nealon and Sam Williams and Ezeraku and maybe James Houston. I think Oso Odighizuwa and Kenny Clark can get pressure too. I wonder if you can attack, and we'll spend more time on this later if on a future show, if you can pick on Tyler Steen. I think he's the weak point, if there is one, on the Eagles' offensive line. But if you let Hurts just sit back there, have all day, and chuck bombs downfield, he's really good downfield, not so good over the middle of the field, it's going to be a long day for you. Now, we'll be live for Cowboys versus Eagles. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/Cowboys TV. Join us for our always fun, entertaining watch parties. Number 4, I do need something out of the run game. Something has to show up because this is a Cowboys ground game that we haven't really seen much of. And we saw some more gaps, some more power concepts in the preseason, but that's the preseason. We haven't seen Devontae Williams take one real carry or even a fake carry in the preseason as a member of the Dallas Cowboys roster. The Eagles' defense last year may not be as good. They lost some pieces, but not as good. Could still be top 5. Number 1 in total yards. Number 1 in passing yards allowed. 10th in rushing yards. I do wonder if the Cowboys try to get something resembling a ground game going. I will make note, It does require the ground game to work, though. If the run game doesn't work and you try to get it going, you're actually setting up your passing offense to be in a really bad spot. So try to run the ball, yes, but you almost have to have a quick hook or else you're going to get yourself into a lot of 3rd and 7s. And that's not a spot you ever want to be in, especially against the Vic Fangio defense, given some of the historical issues Dak has had against the Vic Fangio defense. So will the Cowboys ground game be better this year? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Will the Cowboys ground game be better? Final key to victory, Schottenheimer, this is your time. You should have already been playing it. You have to play the always valuable "no one believes in us" card. Tell them that, hey, you know what, you're a 7.5 point underdog. That no one thinks you're going to be good enough this season. That no one thinks they're going to be able to have any success against the Eagles. That everyone is writing you off after the Micah Parsons trade. You need to play that "nobody believes in us" card. Otherwise, it's not gonna play well enough for you. It's just not. You have to have that confidence. You have to have that confidence, and you have to play the "nobody believes in us" card, or it's just not gonna work. This is a valuable card. It's a good card to play. It's a great opportunity to utilize it and maximize it if you are the Dallas Cowboys. Will they? We'll see. Hopefully, they're able to do so. My score prediction before we go here. I know you're not going to like it. I apologize in advance. I do have the Eagles winning 29-20. I want to believe in this Cowboys team. I need to see it first. And if this was a different opponent, I might have been more optimistic and picked the Cowboys to win. I'll pick them to win week 2, I promise you. But for this upcoming matchup, I don't feel particularly great about the Cowboys against the Eagles. So I've got Philadelphia winning 29-20. We're going to get some shout-outs here and some super chats we'll get to here as well. So stay tuned for that. And again, I apologize for the Eagles winning prediction, but I'm always going to tell you how I think it is. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. All right, the super chat menu here on today's show. Any super chat equals a shout-out. $5 gets you a raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot, as Manny Villagrana, get that right? Did earlier today. And $100 for a beer bong. Big ups to you, Manny, for the $50 super chat. Let's get to the 2 super chats that have come in. Then we'll dive into the final segment here on today's show. You can change the L3 too. Make sure I'm not missing any news updates here on Injury Report. I think it's going to drop today. We'll see. Haven't seen it come across the wire yet. Outside of Diggs saying 75-80% chance to be able to play. We'll see. I don't know who this first super chat is. It's Sasuke. What's his channel name, though? Brady Pomeroy is the most recent super chat that came in. I'll get you into the raffle here, Brady. So stand by for that one. There we go. Brady, $10. Thank you very much. Been reading a lot of reports saying the Micah trade is actually net positive for Dallas. And this is addition to subtraction, regardless if that is the case, to be given up for too little. I think that for when you traded him, that was pretty much all you were going to get. 2 picks and a player / more draft capital, that was the realistic bar to aim for, and they got there. Now, if you had done this in March or April, you would have gotten more. I'm convinced of it. You would have had a true bidding war that there wasn't. A team like the Cardinals was no longer in the bidding war because they signed Josh Sweat, paid him big money. The Falcons literally couldn't be in the bidding war because they had no first-round pick next year. Well, you did limit yourself with when you made that trade. For when you made it was about what I expected. I told you guys, I thought the rough trade package was going to be 2 firsts and change. They got 2 firsts and change. It sucks those picks might be late ones, but it is still 2 firsts. So I think that was about to be expected. I don't think too little with when you traded him is fair. Too little overall maybe is because you messed up the timing of it. Manny, is Jaden Blue going to play? Expectation is yes. He's the 3rd running back. I'd be pretty shocked if he was not out there, at least in some capacity. So maybe not a ton, but he should be out there. Let's get some more super chats, and then once super chats are over, we'll just go into the next segment. I got some Manny with blue. Another one from Manny, by the way, asking, does the $50 super chat get a raffle entry? It doesn't get a raffle entry, Manny. It gets a bunch of raffle entries. So fear not. There are plenty of entries for you. That $100 super chat that you did during the chaos of or whatever you did the last time you did the big $100 super chat, which might have been, I think that was actually during the preseason game? Whenever it was, last time you did it, that got you a bunch of raffle entries as well. So, Manny, don't worry. All the big super chat items get you the prorated out super chat entry or raffle entry. So, tons of entries. You got the most of anybody so far today as a result. So, thank you very much, Manny. I appreciate that. Isn't that poll on? Is the link expired? I don't know. Okay. Well, try to refresh it, but okay, sweet. There we go. Good job, Billy. Okay. Well, just check and make sure it's polling properly. Yeah, just to be safe. It's because it should have probably polled by now. But more super chats to come. You can vote in the pinned poll. In the meantime, 74% voting for the Cowboys, 26% voting for the Eagles in that Week 1 matchup. I don't know. I hope it happens. I would be a very happy person if the Cowboys upset Philadelphia and they dominated. That would make me extremely happy if that went down. I would like that quite a bit. Manny, we got to his William Cook, the Aubrey deal. What would a deal for Aubrey look like? I think you're simply making the highest paid kicker in football. The way the Cowboys contract leverage works out, they don't have to pay him this year. They can wait a year because they've got I think they have the RFA tender available for him. So they can kind of slow play that one a little bit if they want to. But he is eligible. He's in a very unique spot where, as a former undrafted free agent, you can do that after year 2. So he's eligible, highest paid kicker, guaranteed average per year. It's kind of a no-brainer. He does have Todd France, so I do wonder if he tries to go for more than that. Kai Trimble, $10. Doesn't an Eberflus defense require good linebacker play to the deep line play more gaps, funnels everything towards linebackers, also not blitzes trying to keep everything in front of us? That is how it's been in the past. He blitzed a lot during the preseason. And in camp did a little bit. I don't know if that's his plan or not. It does require mostly 4-man pressures. When they blitzed some last year early in Chicago, a lot of nickel blitzes. He did ramp up his blitz packages late in his tenure in Chicago. So certainly one to monitor. But I think in general, you've got the Eberflus defense pretty much nailed. We'll see how it plays out. It'll certainly be something to watch since it is new still. So grade the DaRon Bland extension, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. How do you feel about that DaRon Bland contract extension? A, B, C, D, or F. Get those votes in. Get the L3 to likes if you're not already to match it. Grade that Bland extension, A, B, C, D, or F. See A's from King Rel, Cowboy Rob, B from Matt Batten, That Boy Will, Manny, all typing in their A's. Get the votes coming. We'll get to our final segment on today's show. We'll get to the other super chat after this segment. Before we dive into today's show, breaking down the official, quote-unquote, Cowboys depth chart, I want to break our August like high. That was 2,701. I think we can get there. There's going to be way more than 2,700 people watching right now. So help us out. Like the video right now. The Cowboys have released their unofficial depth chart for Week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. I think there is some insight to be had here. It's not going to be 100% correct. We have seen that happen before where the official depth chart isn't actually how things play out. It always seems to ding the rookies and young guys even more, and they err on the side of caution with the vets. But I think there is some insight to be had here before the Cowboys take on the Eagles Thursday evening. So first takeaway, Miles Sanders listed as RB2. To be quite honest, I kind of hope this one isn't right. I think it would be a positive thing if the Cowboys did not lean on Miles Sanders compared to Jaden Blue. The depth chart ordering was Javonte Williams RB1. That's obvious. Miles Sanders RB2, Jaden Blue RB3. Blue is an explosive young player. I don't know truly how much this team and staff trust him yet, but he brings you more juice than other guys do. I do worry about Miles Sanders, having not seen much great stuff from him in the preseason, coming off back-to-back down years. He showed a little bit of success in that final game in Carolina back in 2024, but I think I speak for a lot of us when, like, I want to see Jaden Blue get unleashed, and I want to have chances to say I just blew myself out loud. Like, that's what I want. That's what I want. What, Arrested Development? Come on, Billy. Have you not watched that show? It's electric. It's electric. Who has more yards this year? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. MS for Miles Sanders, JB for Jaden Blue. Let me know in the comment section of today's show, not including return yards, just rushing, receiving, who has more yards, MS or JB. Number 2 takeaway, there is once again an or at wide receiver 3. And unlike most ors, which I feel like is cheating, this might actually be an or. It's Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin. And these are 2 very different players who will do very different things for the Cowboys. And I wouldn't be shocked if in terms of the number of snaps taken out wide receiver or in the slot, if Jalen Tolbert ends up leading the way. Because he can play every single spot in the wide receiver room. He's done it before. He's not elite at it. He's not. But he was serviceable in 2024. I think probably gets over-hated on, if that's a proper terminology. I don't think he's as bad as some say. He can do everything at above replacement level. But Turpin offers you more juice. He can't be a full-time back. I don't know if he can be a full-time receiver at his size. This might be Rams' version of Tavon Austin. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Kevontae Turpin is like the guy who has more touches and targets than Jalen Tolbert does. They get him involved on screens and sweeps and straight-up runs, and they get him some slot receiver work. I'm fine with Tolbert getting more snaps, like because blocking, I think he's better. But touches, I actually would prefer to see if you can get Kevontae Turpin going, which I do think that package, I feel like a Schottenheimer package, not a Mike McCarthy one when they used it in years past. This episode of the Cowboys Report is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You get those picks right, you could cash in. It is the best way to win cash this football season. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. Take advantage of their max discount for week 1. Dak Prescott, a half passing yard. It's a no-brainer. It needs to be in every single one of your lineups. The power play I've got cooked up for week 1, Dak Prescott more than passing yards. Xavier Worthy more than 3.5 yards on the ground. Ashton Genty, a half touchdown more than on that front. Go download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. Depth chart takeaway number 3. Sam Williams is listed as the new starter opposite Dante Fowler with no more Micah Parsons on the depth chart, obviously. I found that very interesting. I was a little bit perplexed by the fact that Sam Williams was the one that was listed as the starter for the Dallas Cowboys on that defensive end depth chart, along with Dante Fowler. The backups are pretty expected there. Donovan Ezraku, Sam Williams, and Marshawn Nealand. It's going to be a committee. It's going to be a rotation. That is something the Cowboys are going to have to organize and figure out and make sure that they do it right. But they're all going to be involved. They're all going to get reps and opportunities. I will also say, strangely enough, it's not a typo underneath defensive end 1 there. The Cowboys also listed Williams as the other backup. Was that a typo actually by the Cowboys? I'm not sure. Weird to see him listed at both defensive end spots. I'm hoping for a breakout year from Sam Williams. That'd go a long way for the Cowboys. They've at least postured with the leaks to media that, hey, extension maybe. I would be a bit concerned by it unless it's super cheap, because I thought his best year was in 2022. Thought he was more efficient, more productive. They were trending in a good direction for 2024 before the ACL tear. He's back. He's good. He's healthy. That's awesome. But I kind of want to see it first. So who leads the Cowboys in sacks this season? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Get your predictions in. It could be a defensive tackle. Could be Osa. Could be a Clark. Could be somebody else. Who do you think ends up leading the Dallas Cowboys in sacks this upcoming season? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Get those predictions in for me right now. Who do you think leads the Cowboys in sacks this year? Depth chart takeaway number 4 here for the Dallas Cowboys. It is an or at linebacker. And this is behind Jack Sanborn, behind Kenneth Murray. I do want to acknowledge that. I do want to acknowledge that part as well, that it is an or behind those two players. It's between Damone Clark and Maurice Liufau as the ors of the two listed there. This, to me, and it's not listed really in that order, so I do want to acknowledge that, but I read this as, who's your linebacker 3 or? Given the fact that Sanborn and Murray barely played at all in the preseason, that one of those two guys is the more likely path for the Dallas Cowboys with who starts, who does not start. So Clark and Liufau, I am very curious what their rotation ends up looking like, how that ends up playing out for the Cowboys when they go to their base personnel. That's what the 3 linebackers are. That's base personnel, right? They'll be a nickel a lot. They'll play 3 corners, etc. How that all plays out, I don't know how it'll end up going. I don't know. Is it Liufau? Is it Clark? Overshown obviously is on the PUP list right now. Shamar James is going to be a backup for the Cowboys too. That's something that they have to get organized and get figured out. We'll have to watch and pay attention. The Cowboys might be open to doing some adjustments, doing some tweaks on that front as well. Or at linebacker between Clark and Liufau. Number 5, and weird, correct, but also unusual. Will Grier was listed on the depth chart. That's right, Will Grier, who is not actually on the Dallas Cowboys 53-man roster and might not be active at all on game days, was listed on the depth chart as the quarterback 3. I found that curious. I just wanted to make note of it. I don't have that much to say about it. In fact, point this out, I didn't really think that was going to be the case. Of Grier being listed as quarterback 3 on the depth chart. He's obviously quarterback 3. That's not wrong at all, but I was surprised to see that the Cowboys put him on there at all. It was not something they had to do. They could have just left him off it because he's not on the roster, but I guess they wanted to give him some love or something. Worth mentioning. Now, we will have all the Cowboys roster news that you need. Any other additional moves, cuts, additions, etc., we have you covered. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. All right, number 5, Will Grier listed as number 5 was Will Grier, excuse me. Number 6, I can't do words apparently. The backup returner listed here. And I did this last year too. I just want to acknowledge what the depth chart looks like for the Cowboys. I want to point that stuff out. Obviously, Kevontae Turpin is your number 1 return man and everything else. He's obviously a huge part of your team. Jaden Blue and Wanye Thomas were listed as the backup returners on kickoffs. Jalen Tolbert listed as the backup punt returner. Hopefully those guys don't ever touch the ball. Not opposed to actually Jaden Blue on kick returns, but Turpin needs to be the guy who gets the majority of those reps. Now, rate the 2025 Dallas Cowboys roster. Scale it for me from 1 to 99. Then we'll look at some other depth charts here that I want to break down. 1 to 99 is your scale. Sound off for me in the comments section of today's show and rate that Dallas Cowboys roster this upcoming season. All right, again, this is all based on the official Dallas Cowboys depth chart, so is worth acknowledging and mentioning on that front here. Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker, Terrence Steele, your starters, obviously. Nathan Thomas lined up there at the backup left tackle. Trevor Keegan as the backup left guard. Brock Hoffman at center. TJ Bass at right guard. Hakeem Adeniji, Ajani Cornelius are all in there as the alternative options behind the offensive line. Nothing crazy to me here. Defensive tackle, pretty straightforward. Oso Odighizuwa, Solomon Thomas, Perrion Winfrey, Mozzie Smith, Jay Tolia behind, Kenny Clark. That's, I don't know, to be blunt, obviously. Like, there's nothing crazy on that front for the Cowboys offensive line depth chart. Cornerback-wise, DaRon Bland, Trevon Diggs, Kyer Elam. Backups, they did list CJ Goodwin on there. Triquez Bridges on there. Reddy Stewart in there at nickel. They did have Bland listed there, by the way, as the nickel corner if the first two guys are healthy. Then safety-wise, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Marquise Bell, Wanye Thomas. Again, nothing that's shocking on that front for the Cowboys' defensive depth charts there either. I think that's pretty straightforward for Dallas. Who you got in this one? Then the other super chats. I think one or two of them came in while we were live. Or I guess just the one. We'll get to that one here before we sign off. Who you got? C for the Cowboys, E for the Eagles. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Vote in the pin poll, by the way, if you haven't already. C or E, Cowboys and Eagles. One more $10 super chat from Brady Pomeroy. Thank you, Brady. I appreciate that. More entries into the raffle coming up this Thursday night. Looking ahead with the trade, with the draft capital we received from the trade, what positions would you like to see Dallas pursue? Would you rather they take a chance on the draft to trade for a proven player? Let me see where they're picking. I do think stocking it with young, talented players is always a good idea. I almost wonder if you could find a way to do it. Could you trade down and acquire a future one in 2027 with one of your 2026 picks and have 3 of them? That'd be awesome. That would really load you up. Not a guarantee, not easy to do, but you don't control the 2026 draft. You get 3 2027 firsts. Hey, you might, by the way. So we'll be live one more time for Cowboys against the Eagles. Do not miss out. Hit that sub button at youtube.com/@CowboysTV for more free Cowboys YouTube videos.